Hello and welcome to the first lesson for Project C. So this is the article that we are going to be recreating. Up here we have our footer, and if we go down the page we can see we have another footer down here which also has left and right content, and up just below our footer we have our introductory content, which is the header. And below our header we have a navigation. So this is the first time we're dealing with navigation. We have a left side and a right side for our content. So in our project folder we're going to create a new folder and we'll call this Project C. And in Project C we're going to create two folders. First one will be our CSS folder and the second one will be our image folder, so IMG for that one. Now, if we go into Sublime, on the left side we could see our Project C is up there. Right click on CSS and create a new file and save this file as style.css, and right click on Project C and create a new file and save this as index.html. Now, in index, if you type HTML and then your tab key, okay, you have a code generated for you, clean it up like this, and then in title we're gonna give this a name, Project C. Okay, so this is our default code as we've done a few times now. So if we save that and go into our Project C folder and double click on index, so we have our preview page, so we can see what we're doing as we code. So now if we go back into our template folder and see what we're going to do next, the first thing we do is we're going to create a container that will have our footer in it, and then our header, and then our navigation. So let's start by creating a div that will be our ID container. Okay, so this will be our container, and within that we're going to add our footer element. So if we create our footer element like this, and our footer has two things. It has the content on the left side and on the right side. So we're going to use a div for that. And I'll use a class instead of ID. And the reason is that we're going to be duplicating this content on this page. IDs don't duplicate, but classes you can duplicate. So let's give this a class name, left footer, and duplicate this line of code, and then change this to right footer. Okay, all right, so we've done that. Now if we go back into our template, we need to write this content within our left and right. So on the left side you could give this any name you want. I'm just going to repeat what we have. Okay, and then on the right side we'll give this a date. So this date will be 17 November and 2014. Okay, so this is pretty much the footer section taken care of. So we now have our header as a second part. So below the footer we could type header, and then within header we put our H1. So in here we could put our introductory content, which is today's news. So this is the header also taken care of. So we have the navigation to look at. Since this is the first time we're coming to navigation, let's go into our HTML documentation and have a look and see what element we can use. So there's a nav element, and a nav element represents a section of a page that links to other pages or parts within the page. So this would do for us. So if we go into Sublime, below our header, we can create a nav element like this. Okay. And within the nav we have three lists in there, and we create list elements using the UL element, which is an ordered list, and within it we can create lists using the LI element. So we have three things in here. I'm going to substitute these three for something a little bit more useful. I'll use search engine names. So for the first list we can call this Google, and we can duplicate this and we could give this a name like Firefox, and then we could give the third one Safari. So this is pretty much how you create lists. There are different types of lists, but this time around we're dealing with unordered lists. Okay, so if we save our work and reset our browser, we could see our HTML document displayed back to us. And it's exactly how we want it to look at the moment. Up here, we've dealt with the footer, the header, and the navigation. And that will pretty much conclude it for this lesson. We've learned a few new things here. We've learned how to use our UL, navigation, and class, the reason why we use class as well. So I'll carry on from where we've stopped in the next lesson.